A good Thursday morning to you, Central Georgia. We have a lot to get to with today's extended forecast. The first of which being we have issued a weather impact alert for strong and severe storms for this afternoon, this evening, and for most of Friday afternoon, possibly lingering into the evening hours as well. So we will get a break from the active weather in between right now all the way until the end of Friday. However, we are really eyeing the afternoon and evening hours when our temperatures are the warmest, and we are going to have the good potential for some stronger weather in nature. Whether that's a strong storm, a special weather statement, or it does become a severe thunderstorm warning. Still, from what we saw as of recent days, even some of those strong storms, those special weather statements, they can pack quite the punch with still 40 to 60 mile per hour winds. And we also can see some minuscule hail amounts that can pop up with that, along with your heavy downpours and your frequent lightning. But the straight line wind gusts, once again, being the main impact that we are concerned about. Obviously, large hail is still going to be possible, especially where you're getting large updrafts associated with some of those more severe thunderstorms, and that could get some hail that could be somewhere even in the neighborhood of quarter to ping pong ball size. But I do believe most of the hail that you do see will probably be more around pea to dime to penny sized hail. Now, the potential for a brief and spin up tornado once again is going to be there for not only today but for tomorrow as well. I think the risk is a little bit greater for tomorrow. We've seen it outlined already as of this morning, but still, it's always something that we continue to monitor no matter what when we are covering our fair share of active weather. Here's a look at your day one storm outlook. This was the main reason for driving the upgrade to the weather impact alert for today, and you'll see why for tomorrow. But number one, we do see many of our south and southeasternmost counties included in a level 2 out of 5 risk now, as opposed to our general level 1 that we've seen many times over the past week or so. So all of central Georgia is still in a severe weather risk. You may be in a level 1, that's where about 2/3 of us are, but areas like Dublin, Eastman, down to Abbeville, McRae, Soperton, Vidalia, up into Wrightsville, portions of Washington County, you do find yourselves in this sector. That just really means that there's increased confidence that we will see more stronger weather impacts over in this corridor that's in the level 2 risk, because of a couple of reasons. Number one, there is going to be more instability over there. However, there are going to be some warmer temperatures over there along with that instability. They kind of go hand in hand with one another, and the system will probably be going over these areas once we get into that prime daytime heating hours, somewhere around 3, 4, and 5 o'clock. We're really looking at the severe weather threat to kind of start around 3 p.m. and go all the way into the evening hours. So you see the potential threats just like I outlined: damaging winds, large hail. The chance of a brief tornado will also be something that we're monitoring on that velocity map in real time. And now taking a look at your day 2 storm outlook. So this is for Friday. All of central Georgia, including portions of East Georgia, West Georgia, down into southern Georgia, are in this level 2 out of 5 risk once again. Now, there is a lot more of a better idea probably for Friday's severe weather risk as opposed to today's, because today's still in this kind of iffy pattern where we're just getting spurts of moisture from coming over from the west, and that's continuing to traverse over central Georgia, and it's all going to depend on the environment that it does encounter when it gets here. However, for tomorrow, we're looking at a pretty dry morning, some peaks of sunshine, and then it's actually going to be a frontal boundary, a cold front driving this severe weather risk, typical of the severe weather risk that we normally see all throughout the calendar year. And we know that we can get a better idea of the specific timing of the passage of that front as opposed to these other MCSs and lines of thunderstorms or systems of thunderstorms moving over from west to east. The models don't do a very good job of predicting the exact timing of that, but we'll go over where things do currently stand. The biggest headline with all of this, I know, and just sounding like a broken record, there are 2 more days of storm chances, and then we will clear out as we go into your weekend. So we get through this afternoon and evening, we get through tomorrow afternoon into the early evening hours. I promise you, your Friday night all the way through Saturday and Sunday is going to be very pleasant weather. That front will pass through sometime tomorrow afternoon, and what it's going to do is usher in some drier air, not necessarily some cooler air. We might see a little bit of a decrease in some of those morning low temperatures, maybe the high temperatures, but overall still going to be an awesome weekend ahead. Use that as motivation to get through kind of the dreary forecast that we continue to just give you bad news with, it seems like, each and every day. So let's take a look at your satellite and radar picture. Lots of cloud cover all over central Georgia. So it's not a bad thing by any means. I know it doesn't look the best outside, but that's going to inhibit our warm up just a little bit. And it does look like most of the cloud cover will hang around for at least the rest of the morning into the afternoon hours until the rain does become more widespread. So we're looking west at the Georgia National Fairgrounds, west here down in Warner Robins, and looking west in Dublin. And that's where you can kind of see maybe off in the distance a little bit of those darker cloud bottoms associated with some of the rain showers that may be over in our westernmost counties. This is looking up to the northeast right now over downtown Macon. Still a pretty gloomy image, but just wanted to give you an idea of what you're pairing these temperatures up to. So you will see plenty of cloud cover. You can really tell where the cloud cover is on this temperature map. Where the temperatures are in the low to mid 70s, that's where you have cloudy skies. Haven't warmed up quite as much as these areas down here. And if this doesn't correlate with that level 2 risk that we were seeing earlier on the SPC outlook, you will see some temperatures in the upper 70s, already at 81 degrees in Vidalia, kind of where this sector of an orangish, maybe getting into an orangish red color is down in our far south and southeast. It is humid no matter where you go, however. We have some areas where maybe the dew point temperatures are in the upper 60s, but overall most areas look to be somewhere into the 70s. Lots of dark green color, lots of moisture available as this wave of showers and thunderstorms does get ready to roll through. But hopefully we can keep these shades out of here. That is a very dark green right there, and that is going to be indicating some dew point temperatures in the mid to upper 70s, and that would be a lot of moisture to work with and would also probably go away and making some of the temperatures feel a little bit warmer, a good amount warmer actually, than what they do read. So it feels like temperatures you will see mainly in the 70s right now. Our southernmost counties already feeling like the mid 80s, areas like Telfair County, Wheeler County, Montgomery, over to Toombs County, probably portions of Truitland County, Southern Lawrence, and then down to Dodge County. But once again, remember that patch of that dark green I was just talking about? That's where you're getting some of the reds and even the pinks. Oh man, I did not miss seeing those since last summer, but still that's going to indicate your feels like temperatures well up into the 90s. It could even be flirting with triple digits in those patches of pink. So that very, very humid environment looks to be somewhere around the LaGrange area right now along the state line and the Chattahoochee River. So your winds and your wind gusts, a steady breeze right now, not dealing with anything that's terribly gusty of nature. Just like I've been telling you the last couple of days, any gusty winds or damaging winds are going to be very localized within some of the stronger or severe storms like the last couple of days. So most areas won't be windy whatsoever, but if you are to see a thunderstorm come over your area, then that's when your winds are going to get a lot gustier in nature. They can be 20 to 25 miles per hour, or some of those gusts can get up to 40, 50, maybe even 60 miles per hour if you get a special weather statement or a severe thunderstorm warning. So taking a look at your satellite and radar right now, I was hinting at some rain over to the west, and that's where you do see this cluster of green, orange, and mainly yellow. So some steady pockets of heavier rainfall in areas like Thomaston, stretching over into Roberta, mainly just Upson County, southwest Monroe County, and then stretching into Crawford County. Everything else is mainly of the light precipitation nature, but we still have plenty more of yellow, orange, maybe even a little bit of red approaching from the south and the southwest. Areas like Macon County already seeing some rain. Dooley and Crisp already seeing some rain move in. Some of these light showers stretching over to Peach, Houston counties, downtown Macon, getting close to there, Bibb County, up into Monroe County, Lamar County, and this will continue to be a little more widespread as we go throughout the rest of today. Let's go ahead and take a big picture view of what's going on right now. And actually even farther down to the south of this cluster, this was once a severe thunderstorm warning a couple of times down in the panhandle of Florida and as it traversed through south and southwest Georgia. So you can see that we do see a little bit of a cluster of lightning there, some red colors enveloped within there as well. So if this does continue its kind of northeasterly direction, it's going to run into that ripe environment down there in our south and our southeasternmost counties. Hopefully you can get the thunderstorms out of the way a little bit sooner as opposed to later. And once you do get some thunderstorms, it's really going to use up all that available energy that you do have. And then you should be in the clear as you go throughout the rest of today. But not only that, we do even see some severe thunderstorm warnings back over in the Mobile Bay area. On the southern tip of Alabama, even a tornado warning that looks to be fairly close to the Pensacola area as you go down into Florida, taking a look at that right there. So two separate severe thunderstorm warnings for the downtown Mobile area. Over towards the east, I imagine this is going to be areas like Gulf Shores, getting over into Orange Beach, and then that tornado warning continuing eastward over into the westernmost edge of the panhandle of Florida, Pensacola right there. So let's go into your forecast for today. Obviously, spend a lot of time talking about what's going on around us because that's eventually what's going to move in here, but predominantly showers until we get to about the 2 to 3 p.m. hour today. Then we'll start to see some of that rain get heavier in nature, some of these showers to intensify into some thunderstorms. 3 p.m. going into the evening is the main kind of time window that we've seen for our guidance right now in terms of when that severe weather will occur. Some strong, some severe. And I should have put and or if I had the space right there. You may just see a strong thunderstorm, doesn't quite make it to severe criteria, or you may see a severe thunderstorm that obviously packs a little bit more of a punch. But a reminder that these severe thunderstorms, they happen when you have one of two things. So you can have hail that is 1 inch in diameter or larger, or it can be a wind-driven warning, which would mean gusty winds of 58 plus miles per hour. You have to have one of those two things in order for a thunderstorm to be classified as severe. Anything below it, say you have gusty winds that are 50 miles per hour. That obviously can still do its fair share of damage, but it wouldn't be enough to classify as a severe thunderstorm warning. So even some strong thunderstorms and those special weather statements can pack quite a punch in terms of the damaging wind gusts, downing things like power lines, trees. We saw a lot of that happen in areas like Elko, down into Hawkinsville, areas of Dooley County as of this past Tuesday, and down in Bleckley County, Dodge County, and Lawrence County, where we did get that lone severe thunderstorm warning. So I do believe a high temperature of 81, it might get reached. It's kind of hard to predict these high temperatures when you have a lot of cloud cover, you have the rain in the forecast. If we kind of just stay the course of what we look like right now, a predominantly overcast forecast, the rain is already on its way. The rain will probably keep your temperatures in the 70s for most of the day to come. That puts us well below average of the average high this time of year, now just 1 degree shy of 90 degrees. So let's go through some of the models, see what they have to say about how this afternoon and evening is going to play out. Futureview, the graph model, I wasn't showing it this morning because it was not very accurate of what I do believe is going to happen. It was more broken in nature, but this does look to be following suit a little bit more. Activity starting to ramp up, some of those darker reds popping up just as you get to about 2 to 3 p.m. Could be in our western counties, and then that's going to continue. Anything that you do see, it's going to move up to the northeast. That's going to be the general direction of what we see in terms of this active weather, these thunderstorms. We can see some pockets and maybe even some pink colors flashing up. Now, don't get too locked down to this individual model run. Like I told you at the beginning of this, the models really struggle with these types of systems. So think of this more as the potential. It does look like most of central Georgia is still having a lot of potential for seeing a ramp up of activity, the intensity of some of these storms getting a little bit greater in nature. As we go into about 4 to 5 p.m., still fairly scattered right now. So that is what I want to emphasize. The storms in nature are going to be fairly scattered all throughout the rest of this afternoon into the evening hours. It does look like there's still good potential for that southeast corner to see their fair share of some stronger weather. But as we go closer to sunset, I think we'll hold on to the rain maybe a little bit longer than this. But if this situation plays out right here, no complaints whatsoever. We could stay quiet starting around 7 p.m. and that would take us all the way through the overnight hours, which I do believe we could see some overnight rain, just like we saw as of early this morning. Wouldn't even rule out hearing a rumble of thunder or two, even if the models don't show it. But we should start out pretty dry for your Friday morning. We'll see some clearing in the cloud cover. That's going to be big for tomorrow because the clearing in cloud cover is going to allow for a warm up with our temperatures, as finally we get a glimpse of the system that is going to cleanse our weather palette, if you will, kind of get rid of all these severe weather outlooks that we've had in place for today, 6 days straight, and tomorrow will be 7 days straight. This is 2 p.m. on Friday, that front driving through from the north and the northwest, starting to organize together, seeing some darker reds pop up, and that means some storms are beginning to intensify ahead of this line, courtesy of the cold front. It should make its push into north and northwestern central Georgia around 2 to 3 later on tomorrow afternoon. A little more widespread impacts as it keeps going down towards the southeast, maybe entering the Macon area by about 4 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. Take it to 5 p.m. areas a little bit farther down to the south and the southeast. That would be Cochran. That would be areas like Eastman, getting over into Dublin. And then 6 p.m. just in our south and our southeasternmost counties finally. So making pretty quick progress like most of our systems have been doing. But you will notice that Futureview is saying that this line is going to be fairly broken in nature. You'll have some gaps in it. I'm not entirely sure if I buy that, because we clear out with cloud cover, our temperatures get to warm up, we get that daytime surface heating before the front moves through, then temperatures are going to be at their warmest possible as it does move through, along with plenty of moisture still in the forecast. So this front will have a lot to work with in terms of energy and instability already from the daytime surface heating. And it also will have a lot of moisture to continue to lift ahead of it. A lot of these boundaries do have a lot of lift ahead of them. That's why you get your active weather on the leading edge of them. But 6 p.m. tomorrow. After that, bye-bye. And then finally, we clear out as we go all the way through your Saturday. I just continue to play Futureview out. Saturday is going to be an amazing day. And the big reason for this drying out is going to be because this frontal boundary drives some drier air in place. So we won't have this kind of pop-up rain activity or storm chance each and every day. We're not going to have sufficient moisture content in order to do that. So let's go to the high-res model, the one I was showing as of this morning. Obviously, not pretty accurate of what's going on as of right now. This is showing widespread rain all over central Georgia. It's mainly of the light nature. And this Futureview, this high-res model, does typically overestimate the coverage of rain. Just try to focus on the pockets of where you're seeing some of the darker colors associated with this. So once again, 3 p.m., activity starting to sprout up, especially in this corner where we are in the level 2 risk. We could even see some individual pockets of some thunderstorms down in Lawrence County, Dodge County, in those areas that were highlighted in the level 2 risk. We go to 5 p.m., still seeing some pockets and the scattered nature of seeing some stronger weather. We go all the way into 7 p.m. A lot of that activity is starting to wane down, but then it looks like we could have maybe more of a back edge right here. Remains to be seen. Now looking at this model, it's kind of hard to buy into what exactly it is saying, but just know that 3 p.m. window all the way until we get into the nighttime hours, probably sometime around 7 or 8 o'clock, maybe a little bit later. We'll probably see some rain even lingering into the later hours, heading into the early nighttime. But the main window for stronger or severe weather is going to be the late afternoon into the early evening hours when the temperatures are the warmest. So we go overnight into your Friday morning, and then this model is going to do a pretty good job of showing what's going to happen exactly as this front does pass tomorrow. So moving in sometime around 2 p.m. in the afternoon, maybe a little bit earlier than what the graph model did say. Continuing to gain intensity, having pockets of that heavy rain, some of those stronger or severe thunderstorms by about 3 p.m. See here in Bibb County, approaching the Warner Robins area and Houston County, continuing to be fairly widespread, not really breaking apart. So I do like that this is kind of holding together a bit more than what the other Futureview did say. This is 4 p.m., continuing its south and southeastern push, going into our far southeastern counties down I-16 by 6 p.m., and then bye-bye by about 7 p.m. It obviously tries to hang on to the rain a little bit longer. Not quite sure if that's actually going to happen, because I know many of you want to plan out some things to do on your Friday night plans. I think it will start to clear up about 7 to 8 p.m., especially if you live farther up to the north and the northwest. You could clear out by about 4 or 5 in the afternoon. After that main line moves through, you're going to still have some residual rain on the backside, but that will continue to push out of your area. So I'm thinking maybe about an hour or two total of rain, no matter where you are. And the heaviest of it probably only going to last about 15 to 20 minutes. So let's talk about those wind gusts. I don't think I have any pause points on here. We'll go into this afternoon. This is going to follow the graph model right here. And like I said, you'll see your occasional gusts that are going to be up to about 20 to 25 miles per hour. But when you start to get these pockets of the pinks and the reds that you mainly see to the south of us right now, some of those could pop up in central Georgia. So that's going to be your gusts that can get even higher, maybe only 32 miles per hour. But if you do get anything that's stronger of nature, that's of course going to be special weather statements, severe thunderstorm warnings. Very localized where those very, very gusty winds are going to be right in the center of the core of some of those stronger thunderstorms, but it's not going to be widespread by any means. You can see we could have a severe thunderstorm warning somewhere around Dublin per se. So you bump this number up to about 40, 50 miles per hour if you're just outside of downtown Dublin. But downtown Dublin, it's just a steady breeze blowing about 18 miles per hour. So it's really a drastic gradient. It has to be right in the core of where that heavy rain is, where the most frequent lightning is, maybe even some hail in nature. That's where the gustiest winds are going to be. So now we go all the way into Friday, and a bit of a different story. Already starting out a little bit breezy during the morning, some gusts up to 15, 20 miles per hour possible. And then right as the front's getting ready to drive through. It's still to the north and the northwest of us, just a tad. By Friday around 1 p.m. That's where you're going to kind of see this clash of winds right here. They're coming in from the north and the northwest behind the boundary, but then right here we still have our westerly breeze still in place, and where these dark red colors are back over into Alabama, that could be present up in North Georgia as well. We'll still see winds getting quite gusty just due to the pressure gradient ahead of this frontal boundary. So maybe some gusts up to 20, 25 miles per hour. But then when the actual front drives through, that's when you can get your localized gustier winds that can be of severe thunderstorm parameters or just below that, somewhere around 40 to 50 miles per hour. We've had the highlighted risk of 40 to 60 mile per hour winds. That's going to be kind of the range you can expect some of those wind gusts throughout today and throughout tomorrow. And the winds are still a bit gusty on the backside of this frontal boundary, but they are quick to finally kind of slow down in speed. We still have a steady breeze into the nighttime hours and into your Saturday morning. Let's take a look at Saturday afternoon. Actually going to be a pretty breezy afternoon, but this is just going to make the forecast even better. Drier air, some slightly cooler temperatures. It will still be warm, but at least it's not blowing that muggy air in your face. This breeze will kind of act as a pleasant breeze, a little bit of a cool down throughout your Saturday afternoon plans, but obviously 2 days of potential severe weather to get through before we do talk about that. So let's talk about the humidity. This is kind of the telltale for how much moisture is going to be available as these systems do move through. Plenty of moisture available already. I showed you that dew points temperature map. It is predominantly dark green right now, and we might see a slight downtick going into your Friday. I still do believe we're going to kind of have a mix and match of that dark green and the light green. So a pretty noticeable humidity at the very least, and some patchy areas of some pretty muggy air. But then after that, we drop those dew point temperatures down into the comfortable range, somewhere in the 50s for Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We'll continue to see a lot of those days past Saturday and Sunday fluctuate a little bit, but I definitely don't think we have a lot of moisture to work with whatsoever, and the long-range models do reciprocate that idea. So this is Sunday. Everything's still staying dry, but Alex, you said no rain chances. There's rain up to the north of us. There is going to be the chance of some showers and maybe some isolated storms in North Georgia, north of us here in central Georgia. This does try to push a little bit farther down to the south, but you can see how it really falls apart as we go into Sunday night. So I'm not really buying that. I put a 10% on the 7-day just to cover the bases. Once we get a glimpse of Sunday on our short range models, which will be tomorrow, then we can give you a better idea. But don't be surprised if you see a sprinkle or a light shower Sunday evening predominantly. It's really not going to interrupt any outdoor plans. Monday morning, starting out nice, partly cloudy possibly. Some rain and some moisture all around us, but it still doesn't look like we have the sufficient moisture in order for rain to continue to sprout for Monday on into Tuesday, continuing that pattern into Wednesday, and then all the way into next Thursday, where we see more active weather shaping up to the north and the northwest of us. However, it doesn't look like it pushes into central Georgia until later next week. So it does look like a very warranted dry stretch is underway. So with our weather impact alert, what you need to know for this afternoon and evening and tomorrow afternoon, that could linger a little bit into the evening. The timing of this is going to be that second half of the day, today and tomorrow. So the window I'm kind of thinking is going to be about 2 to 3 in the afternoon, all the way until we get into about 7 to 8 p.m. at night. So kind of that's bottom half of the clock that you do see right there. We could see it linger a little bit longer today specifically. We could see it get out of here a little bit quicker for tomorrow, depending on how fast that front does move through. The impact that you're looking for are going to be your strong, and yes, emphasis still on the strong storms. It doesn't have to be a severe thunderstorm to pack quite a punch. They can have some gusty winds that are 40, maybe 50 miles per hour, as opposed to the 58 plus that a severe thunderstorm would have, and they can still do their fair share of damage. The other impacts associated with these strong and severe storms will be some hail cores. We could see some hail cores up to about maybe some ping pong ball size, maybe some quarter size. It's going to be on the very, very largest end of the range. Now, areas on the bottom half of the range, you'll probably see some hail, maybe about pea to dime size. Only going to be pretty minuscule, maybe only about that big if you can get a rough idea right there. It's obviously still not something that you want to be outside for, and you want to stay away from windows from if you do see it starting to hail. Frequent frequent lightning. We have seen that come to fruition over many of the last couple of days. So when thunder roars, of course, that means lightning is close enough to strike. So that means you need to head indoors. Along with that, where you do get your frequent lightning, you're going to have your heaviest downpours. Although with the pretty fast progress of both of these systems, we're not necessarily looking at any sort of flooding risk, any sort of flash flooding risk. It's something we always keep an eye out for. But with the fast motion of these systems, it does look like that we're not really going to see the puddling and the accumulation of water as much as we typically do. And of course, the chance for seeing a brief or a spin-up tornado, you hear us say it with just about each and every severe weather outlook that we do get. However, it's obviously something that we're already going to be looking at the straight line winds and the wind gusts. So if we are to pick up on any rotation, then we'll be updating you live. And if we are to get an indication of any of that rotation, maybe before the warning gets there or whatnot, we are going to make sure that we cut into our feed or we are updating you in some way or fashion. So what you need to do, have a way to receive possible alerts. We will say this each and every severe weather chance that we do have, having a way to receive those possible alerts, whether it's your weather radio, whether it's going to be your cell phone, your code red alerts, whether it's going to be our 13 WMAZ app. Having a way to receive those warnings will keep you properly informed so you can continue about your day. Obviously, no reason to interrupt your day if you don't have any severe weather headed your specific location. But if you are to have a warning that is on its way, is shortly away, you see it getting messy outside, you hear it getting a little bit loud outside, you're going to want to know what that is. And if you do get that warning, it's obviously going to remind you that, hey, maybe I should just head inside for a little bit, ride this out, and then that will be that. Stay up to date for changes. I don't think too much is going to change. However, the changes would more so, ironically enough, happen today as opposed to tomorrow. With these frontal boundaries driving through, we actually can get a good time range of when it's actually going to move through. However, with today's, the timing is still a little bit subject to change. We could see activity sprout a little bit earlier, but it does look like more confidence is in past that 3 p.m. hour. So I know unfortunate timing for making your way back home from work, but you still will have your fair share of some scattered showers today. So it's going to be a pretty wet day, whether you see a storm or you don't. So here's your 7-day forecast. Weather impact alert for Thursday, the second half of Thursday, and into your second half of Friday. Notice that temperature. That high temperature is a little bit warmer for your Friday because we're going to get some clearing and cloud cover. But if we do stay cloudy tomorrow morning, it's going to do a big difference in terms of our severe weather potential. But as of right now, we're forecasted to see some pretty clear skies as we go into your Friday morning, and that's going to allow us to heat up, surface heating, instability, all the things you need for severe weather to continue to intensify. Friday night, we might trim this off the very, very tail end of Friday. This is kind of trying to give you a little bit of a rough estimate because I think past 8 p.m. on Friday, you are looking good to go. It's just going to be a bit breezy. You may still have some lighter showers that are past and behind that main line of rain. However, I do believe Friday night is going to be a pretty good night for outdoor plans, especially areas farther up to the north and the northwest that get those impacts from the frontal boundary a little bit earlier in the afternoon. Then Saturday, 84 for a high temperature, so already it's a little bit below average. This is going to be paired up with some comfortable humidity. So it's still going to be a little bit present, but I think that you're not going to feel it virtually as much. So it's going to be a pretty low humidity that's going to take away from having the feels like numbers a couple degrees warmer, maybe feeling like 84, 85 at most if you do have a patch of some shades of light green. But nice and sunny, 84, a good steady breeze. It's going to be an absolutely immaculate day on Saturday afternoon for outdoor plans. Going into your Sunday, put a 10% there. Because remember, we were showing the long-range models. There's plenty of rain up to the north of us here in central Georgia. Some of that could creep down as we go into Saturday night, Saturday evening. So I'm not buying that absolutely too much as of right now. Once short-range models do get it into view, we'll kind of fine-tune that rain chance, maybe bumping it up to a 20%. I still just don't see a lot happening with our moisture content still virtually being unavailable. But we climb the ladder very steadily. I will take mid-80s all day long as we go into the beginning of next week. But then we're back close to the 90-degree mark Tuesday and Wednesday. And by then, we'll probably start to get a little bit of an influx in moisture. That muggy meter I showed didn't necessarily show it, but I do believe temperatures in the low 90s, around 90, are probably going to feel more like 92, 93, 94. And that will kind of set the stage for hopefully at least a summertime pattern, just at least getting a scattered nature of these rain and storm chances each and every day, not these organized threats like we continue to have, and that's why we've issued those weather impact alerts for the second half of today and the second half of your Friday. But hopefully we'll be able to give you the all clear by about 8 p.m. tomorrow night. And finally, the stretch of 7 straight days in a row with a severe weather outlook here in central Georgia come to an end as we go into Saturday. But something else you'll probably want to utilize, and I was talking about it yesterday, we do have a live Doppler radar stream on our 13 WMAZ Plus app. You can take a look at it at any time you want. Maybe you hear things getting a bit messy outside, you hear some gusty winds starting to blow, you hear some rumbles of thunder off in the distance. You come here and you don't see us on here. Well, that's because we'll come on here when there are warnings that we can keep you updated on. But if you want to stay updated on maybe what a strong thunderstorm is doing, or maybe a thunderstorm that's in a neighboring county that you can hear, where is it, where's it going to go, you can use this as a tool in order as your guide for what you need to do, how far away the storm is from you, is it coming to me? And this is going to be a live loop 24/7. This is our satellite radar, so it has a zoomed out picture of central Georgia as a whole. I've zoomed in on the northern half, zoomed in on the southern half, what's going on to the west, what's going on to the southwest, kind of the direction of everything that is on its way. And we'll get a view from the north and the northwest tomorrow before that frontal boundary does drive its way through. And along with that, it has our model run. So what the models are saying, our current temperatures, our feels like temperatures, along with those storm outlook risks. So you can see what category you do fall under, just really showing you the confidence of having severe weather throughout today and tomorrow. And this is a great tool to utilize on demand whenever you would like to. Like I said, we're going to do our best to keep you updated all throughout the rest of today into tomorrow. But if there aren't any active warnings, then obviously we're continuing to look at what's going on the radar and such. And once we see something about the flare up, or once we do get a warning, then of course we come straight on the air or on the stream on Facebook in order to keep you updated. But if there aren't any active warnings, I would definitely suggest utilizing this tool. This is something we've worked pretty hard on for about the last week or so in order to get up. And we're going to continue to add some tweaks to it, maybe add some more graphics and such, but right now it should have everything you need to know to keep you covered and informed throughout today's potential and tomorrow's potential for some severe weather. So thanks for tuning in for a look at your extended forecast. We'll have David Guerrero coming up at midday with the latest update, and then he'll be live at 2 p.m. to kind of give you a live look right there ahead of when that window of severe weather is supposed to get going. Ben Jones, of course, in this evening. He'll be doing a live stream later on tonight to hopefully wrap up what's already happened and hopefully talk about more so what's going to be in store for tomorrow. But obviously these last 2 days, we are finally at the end of the race. We just have to push through, use that beautiful forecast on Saturday as motivation to finally get through this active stretch. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you here tomorrow at 10:30 a.m.